Hello people out there. So have a very grateful day for each and every one of us. But before anything else, I just wanted to acknowledge our beautiful and simple instructor, Miss Cynthia Ruby Reganet.
And also, we wanted to welcome those respondents who's gonna be part of this talk show. Let us all welcome Bianca Catherine Antega, Angelica del Castillo Agustin, Melody Arcelia Bumalay, and Rosemary Akain. And also, let's have a good day to my co-host, Miss Ria Lisan.
Okay, likewise to you, my partner, Mr. Herb Lopez Virgunio. So for today, we are going to talk about the climate changes, which is the very serious issues that climate scientists giving a fully attentions, but they are being desperate to speak up to people by giving warning or awareness about it.
So, if you're familiar about issues in Los Angeles, four scientists arrested after handicapping themselves to entrance of Juice Bank. In Germany, scientists demonstrated outside the Ministry for Economy and Climate Protection. In England, they protested outside the Shell PLC headquarters, asking documents to government building. In Mexico, and gas company headquarters in Italy, and drew pale blood onto PICOD or the Nation Congress in Spain.
And because of these serious issues, we wanted to ask some questions to our four beautiful respondents. So let us first call Bianca Antiga to answer this first question. So the question is, in terms of climate changes, what do you think is causing this to happen?
Our Mother Earth needs us now. The global average surface temperature has increased over the 20th century by about 0.6 degrees Celsius. Our scientists and environmentalists never feel to warn us about the consequence of global warming and rapid climate change. Ever since, time is our greatest enemy, so we must act now before we experience catastrophe. Until then, we realize how we, as inhabitants of Earth, have taken it for granted. Never allow ignorance to hinder you from saving Earth. Remember that the strong typhoon and other natural disaster in our country, like the one that Leyte experiences present, are the wake-up calls. Other countries have already experienced the horror of mass extinction. Never disregard the warning of the scientists and those who dedicated their life to well-educated of our planet. We must start early. Do every day to not further contribute to any types of pollution. Let be awake, aware, and have concern, especially to our country, about that some areas in the Philippines may be erased from the map due to climate change. Water level, according to some studies. Humans are increasingly influencing the climate and the Earth's temperature by burning fossil fuel, cutting down forests, and farming lifestyle. These add enormous amounts of greenhouse gases to those naturally occurring in the atmosphere, increasing the greenhouse effect and global warming. In addition, the loss of trees and other vegetation can cause climate change, desertification, soil erosion, fewer crops, flooding, increased greenhouse gases in the atmosphere because plants and trees create oxygen and absorb greenhouse gases to reduce the temperature. Do our part together. We can save Earth. Let the Earth breathe.
Okay, thank you, Bianca. And the next question for Miss Angela Del Agustin Castillo. This is the question. How is climate change affecting the planet right now?
We all know that climate change is caused by human activities. Many groups have been accused of being at blame for this ongoing lack of action. From fossil fuel companies, wealthy countries, politicians, rich people, and sometimes all of us. One of the most frustrating about climate crisis is the fact that earlier action could have prevented it. With every passing year of inaction, the emission cuts needed to limit global warming to relatively safe levels grow steeper and steeper. Many groups have been accused of being at blame for this ongoing of action, from fossil fuel companies, rich people, wealthy countries, politicians, and sometimes all of us. But we all know that climate change is caused by human activities. Humans are increasingly influencing climate and Earth's temperature by burning fossil fuel, cutting down trees, farming livestock, agricultural practices, consumer practices, deforestation, livestock, transport, mining, resource extraction, and pollution. These adds enormous amount of greenhouse gases to those naturally occurring in atmosphere, increasing global warming and greenhouse effect. And because of this, we lost lots of wildlife and biodiversity. Land degradation, it also increases extreme weather events. The weather becomes unpredictable. Sea levels are rising, and as well as temperature. It is not the government who's at fault, or even the companies. It's not just them, but also us. We humans are the one who is responsible and at fault for the climate change. In order to resolve it, we should do things. For example, segregate and recycles. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Angela, for well defining how does climate changes affects our very own planet. Okay, the next question is for Miss Melody Bumalay Arcela. Then the question is, who do you think are responsible in this kind of serious issue, and why they are?
We know that climate change is caused by human activity, but pinning down exactly who is responsible is trickier than it might seem. One of the most frustrating aspects of the climate catastrophe is the possibility that it could have been avoided if action had been taken sooner. With each year that passes without action, the carbon reductions required to keep global warming at a safe level become more difficult to achieve. Many people have been blamed for the lack of action, ranging from fossil fuel businesses and wealthy countries to governments, wealthy individuals, and even all of us. Others might believe that blaming others is pointless. Blaming the non-believers is not going to be a very effective road if you want to connect with them and encourage them to want more climate action, says Glenn Peters, Research Director of the Center for International Climate and Environment Research. Whether we call it blame or not, we must address the question of who is to blame for the climate crisis. it will inevitably have an impact on the remedies we propose to address the problem. It's also crucial to note that assigning emissions to someone, fossil fuel extractors, makers of products that use them, governments that regulate them, and customers who buy them, does not necessarily imply that they are responsible for them. Fossil fuels companies are certainly a big contributor to the climate crisis. In a key research published in 2017, only 100 fossil fuel producers were blamed for 70% of global greenhouse gas emissions over the previous 2 decades. Last year, an update identified the top 20 fossil fuel companies responsible for a third of emissions. Humans are increasingly influencing the climate and the Earth's temperature by burning fossil fuels, cutting down forests, and farming livestock. This adds enormous amounts of greenhouse gases to those naturally occurring in the atmosphere, increasing the greenhouse effect and global warming. The main driver of climate change is the greenhouse effect. Some gases in Earth's atmosphere act a bit like the glass in a greenhouse, trapping the sun's heat and stopping it from leaking back into space and causing global warming. Many of these greenhouse gases occur naturally, but human activity is increasing the concentrations of some of them in the atmosphere.
Thank you, Melody. And but not the less, the question to ask. Rosemary Akain, here is your question. As a station or a student of CBSUE, what can you do to contribute in helping suppress climate change? How will you encourage yourself, your friend, family, or people surrounding you to give an important attention in this serious issue globally?
I've always encountered this kind of question, especially today that the issue of climate change is still a hot topic all around the world. As a student, there's a lot of things that I can do in a little way, but it can help in our environment. But it's not that simple as saying we have to work to achieve something good. Like simple picking up garbage or putting your trash in a trash can. Planting tree, it means a lot. Do it every time. Spread the news. Today, it is not hard to spread knowledge. We already have internet. We can also use our maritises. Instead of gossiping other people's lives, they can use their voices in a good way. I am proud to say that myself, my father, plants tree more than he cuts. He is very environmentalist. But in our community, it hurts to encourage other people because everyone of which has their own opinion. They also not believe in scientists. They always say that scientists are after just money and fame or attention. Or some believes that scientists are crazy people. So you have to be persistent for them to realize that scientists are true and it's not illusion. Just do what you want. Do what the right thing to do. Let them see that you're doing right. In that way, you influence them without even notice. If you look at the news about climate change, it's really scary, knowing that there's still a young children, newborn baby, yet the environment only have 3 to 5 years to provide us fresh air. Can you imagine how tragic it is? That you need to buy oxygen just to inhale fresh air because our air is already contaminated by pollution. Thank you, Rosemary, and for the rest respondents for having us today in this Truth TV. Okay, to all netizens or citizens or to all people, we just wanted to say that it wasn't too late to do something to save our planet. It wasn't too late to preserve Mother Earth, and it wasn't too late to preserve our environment for the next generation. And I am Realizan Donalyn, your True Talk Show host.
And that's all for today. I am Herbie Lopez Borgonio. Thank you very much and good day.